Welcome back to another episode of the Canadiens Cafe podcast with your host Nick and my co-host Grant. So we're back. The season's back after what was a great Four Nations tournament. Canada
Very cool. Yeah.
winning in OT. It seems like every 15 years we get something crazy like that with like we had Crosby 15 years ago and then we have McDavid, the best players in the world at the time, really stepping up for Canada. It was beautiful.
What a great tournament. And
Yeah.
I know next year we won't have it, unfortunately, but
It's
in a way
okay.
I'm kind of happy because I feel like every year if they were to do this, it would kind of like die down, like it'd be more like, okay, now we expect this thing. But
But
every 2 years I think that's gonna be a great thing to look forward to.
but like you got to
Um
remember next year or next February we're gonna have the Olympics
the Olympics, exactly.
in
But then they
Italy.
said
So
every other year rotating,
yeah.
it's gonna be a tournament. Yeah, exactly.
And there's also gonna be an All-Star game. For the first time we're gonna have an All-Star game and Olympics. I don't really agree with that. The All-Star weekend clearly doesn't really bring fans. And
It's a fan thing. It's just the players aren't into it. Like they're
no,
really
you
not.
saw Kucherov. He last year he was completely like bored there. He didn't even care.
Yeah,
There wasn't
no,
anyone
no,
that cared less than Kucherov. It
right.
was
But on the other hand, this tournament,
it
they
was
cared,
yeah. And
and
I
it
wonder
showed.
if you make it more of like a six or even eight nations
Yeah,
tournament
so I think that
in the
I think that they
future.
confirmed. I think they confirmed it'd be eight. I think eight or six. I know they confirmed one of them too.
Yeah, I think I saw some. Well, they're gonna do a World Cup of Hockey in
Yeah, yeah,
2028.
exactly.
So
That's what it is.
that's
Yeah,
what it is, yeah. And they're not sure yet if Russia can be in it. If not, if so, then great. But if not, I think France would be in it. Or it's like maybe a 12 country then, if that's the
yeah,
case.
yeah. I saw that too. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
what it was. It was 12.
yeah, I'm pretty sure Russia, because like, again, this is more about the players, so I'm pretty sure they will be in it.
Yeah,
But
by then,
yeah,
yeah, by then they should be there. And then
yeah, yeah,
after what was a great tournament, then we got to some good hockey, some
yeah. The Habs seem to that seemed to like really not wake up, but it seemed to like
be reju
motivate, I guess.
I mean, the only two that really played were Armia and Line. You're not
Armia
really going to
Alani
count.
played. Yeah, no, well, he was part of the experience, but he wasn't actually playing,
Yeah,
which
I guess
still
he
on the
got to
team. But
practice with some pretty elite talent though.
yeah, yeah,
And
like the like
really,
imagine being on that team and looking at all the names and seeing who you're playing out the Habs, and it also motivated I find the players for like, hey, like because like they were watching this tournament too.
yeah,
And yeah, no, we really
look
did well.
look perfectly at Uri Slavkovsky, which I know beginning of last week I wrote something about him needing to be more physical and maybe more of a
Yeah,
like
and he's had
forward
that
type
talk.
Josh
And
Anderson.
here's the thing though, like, and I wanted to say this: when Slavkovsky plays big, he plays like a number one overall pick.
Yeah,
Like I think he likes playing the way he does too, though. Like you saw this
yeah.
weekend,
He
he
likes
played
it, but he
confident.
I think in his mind, Europeans, they're not really known to play big power forward games. And he thinks that he has to play a skilled game, I think mentally. Like he's got to play more like a
That's
Ran,
not bad. I don't
which
think
is
it's a
not a
bad
bad thing
thing.
to do, but with the kind of body he has, the type of player he really is, it's been shown that he can be physical, and when he plays physical and moves his feet all the time, that's when he's at his best. And that's why right now, since they mentioned the whole Brady Kachuk thing, like I think tomorrow
Yeah,
he'll play great against San Jose. He'll hit everything that moves again.
yeah. And San Jose is an easier team. I mean, Carolina. I know Carolina has been struggling, but they're no joke either. Although last night they looked like it, but and even Ottawa. I know I get. Excuse me. I get Brady Kachuk wasn't in the lineup, but we took advantage of that. The Canadians really dominated that game, and even with only 18 shots yesterday, they really dominated against Carolina. They were not able to find any success, which
Yeah,
is
no,
great when the opponent can't do that.
but something experience. But we'll get to that in a minute. I just want to
Yeah,
touch on Slavkovsky
yeah,
again.
yeah,
He's
hmm
actually
yeah. He
second.
played great
He's
for
second
both
in hits
games.
behind
Yeah,
only Arbor Jacka.
yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
When he hits and he's sit in front of the net on, you just sit there and use his soft skills a bit more.
Yeah, he
but
could, but he's also a good presence in front, like for tips, along
he's
with being
the
in
best
front of
one
the
in front.
nets.
You saw last night's goal with, well, you saw him tip one. Then you saw Hudson's
Yeah,
goal. Who was there in front?
yeah. Didn't he point at him?
Stopped.
I think he pointed at him.
He
Yeah,
pointed at Hudson because everyone wasn't sure because it was hard to tell if
yeah,
he
yeah,
tipped it
yeah,
or not. But he showed that he
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
tip it at all. He pointed it. If it was his goal,
yeah,
he would
yeah.
have known. Speaking of tipped goals, I was so upset when Line tipped that puck last night. I
Yeah,
really wanted it to be Owen
I
Beck when
mean,
that with the tip line.
yeah, but still, Line needed that too, and even him, he's playing like one thing that one thing that I wasn't too sure about was why he was getting played like, well, I kind of knew why, but why he was it was St. Louis that said he has like every player has to earn their spot.
Yeah,
So Line doing like he is earning it, and it's always good to see Line doing that, and he got rewarded last night as well. Yeah, things are clicking, and we're right there in the playoffs mix. Not too far away, and it helps that Boston kind of lucky break there. And yeah, the
it is.
Canadians they're doing pretty well, and there's no sign of them slowing down right now. There shouldn't be. San Jose is that's the challenge in itself, future Calder battle, but
Yeah,
that'll be
with
a good one to look forward to.
the Calder
Yeah,
battle.
celebrating Hudson.
Yeah, no, yeah, him and well, right now they're tied in
Yep,
points.
this is a great time for that game.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, tomorrow night's game is gonna be a pretty big one for
Yep.
those two. But I predict the Canadians to win 4-2 tomorrow, only because on NHL 23, I won 4-2 against San
Mm,
Jose like 10 minutes ago. I happened to be playing in San Jose in my daily,
right.
so I thought, okay, maybe that has an impact.
I like to do that too. I like to sim games before, excuse me, before they happen.
Yeah, bless you.
Thank you.
But yeah, uh, right now the Habs are, where are they
I think
exactly?
we're
In
26
the
and 25,
standings?
no?
What? Well, they're 20 right now. Wow. Okay, no, this was back when. Let me get the proper.
27, 26. 20,
27,
27, 26, and 5.
yeah. Yeah, for some reason I'm getting the wrong standings right now. They gave me January 15th just because it was the first
Mm.
ones, but I was gonna look at where they are really in the standings.
Like league?
It's for their record that I'm trying to look at, and yeah, how many points back? They're 5 points back, so that anything can happen.
Yep.
Detroit has gotten really hot. If you look closely at Detroit,
Yeah, I did. 8, 1 and 1 in the last 10.
yeah, they're just on fire.
They're on a heater. Yep.
Good for them.
Yeah, no, seriously, good for them. Yep.
They need to make a playoff run at some point, and it might be time for them to make the playoffs. I'm
Yeah, it
starting to
looks
think
about
they will.
right.
Although I put money on the Sens making the playoffs earlier, right? I
Yeah,
told,
look, they're one spot out. It could still happen. It's just that
but
they're
yeah,
on a
no,
losing streak right now.
they're on a 4 game losing streak. They're
Yeah.
cold as hell. I mean, they don't have Kachuk, they don't have North, they don't have Pinto.
Yeah.
Their
They're missing
offense
guys.
and Allmark is struggling. Everything is not going well in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Wonder how their game, or do they start at 8 tonight? Because I know they're playing Win.
No, they're playing right now. And Winnipeg is winning 2-0.
Oh,
But
okay,
I
that
mean,
was
it's
quick.
Winnipeg. They're also extremely hot.
Well, not
So
extremely hot.
no
They only beat
surprises there.
they 2-1 in
Aren't
overtime,
they?
and then
Didn't
like 2 minutes of the
Yeah,
game
but
to tie the
they're
game.
on a 10 game winning streak.
Yeah, I believe that.
So I mean, like,
I'm just saying they didn't look
oh yeah, no, no, no. The games are
on
close, but a win's a win.
a win's a win, but I'm not going to call them looking hot when the way they won. If you saw that game,
Uh,
they didn't play up to their standards.
that's true. That is true.
So
I wouldn't want to face them in the playoffs. I know that
you
much.
would.
Well, if I was a Western Conference team.
But the thing is, they get to the playoffs and they always face off against like a big like Colorado and they get eliminated. They can't get past the first round yet. But
They're
because
literally
they're not the
the
Leafs,
well,
we don't talk about it. But they've
it's that and the Wild. Yeah, the Wild is the same story.
well, Wild, they've never gotten past since
Yeah,
their first time they've ever gone to the playoffs.
yeah, crazy.
Oh wait, no, that's not true. They did in 2014. Okay, never mind what I just
Yeah,
said.
but then they did like
But no,
well,
the
yeah,
last few years they've
they
always
went to seven. I think that year they went to 7 versus Colorado, and then they played Chicago. I think.
yeah they did.
and then they got like steamrolled.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But Colorado was supposed to win that series. So
Yeah, and it went to seven. So yeah.
I think Minnesota only wins when they're not supposed to.
Hmm.
And every series that they've been favorites, I find they lose.
That's true.
Even look back to their first ever playoff run in 20 in '03. In 2003, they
Who did they
beat
play in the first round?
in 2003,
Yeah.
they beat Colorado. They were down 3-1 in that series, came back,
Mm.
won the series 4-3.
And that's a tough Colorado team, yeah.
Yeah, well, this was Patrick was last season. Sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
But
they
then the same thing happened against Vancouver. They're down 3-1. Oh, guess what? Let's just reverse it again. They did
yeah,
it twice. And then the
yeah.
Magic fell apart when they had to face the Anaheim Mighty Ducks.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
J.S. Jaguar, I think they scored like 2 goals that whole series. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't
It was
know.
nuts.
It's just something I remember. The Western Conference, it was one of the first seasons I ever watched hockey, but I remember the Western Conference was wild. Well,
Yeah.
literally, the Wild were well doing well. Nice play on words there.
Yeah.
But
Worked out.
yeah, I know it's a that was a great playoff.
Yeah.
I'm sure like older fans would have appreciated that playoff. Like hockey
Yeah, for
fans, like
sure.
I know the Habs weren't in those playoffs. They finished 10th in the East that year, just missing out, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
at the time, you know, at the time, like it was New Jersey, it was all about New Jersey and,
Colorado's
New
Colorado
Jersey,
for
Colorado, Detroit,
Detroit. Well,
Anaheim.
Detroit got they got massacred by Anaheim. No,
That's
Anaheim
right.
snuck into the playoffs that year. Jaguar came out. J.S. Jaguar came out
That was
and
his breakout year, I think, then.
what? Yeah, he
That was
won the
probably
Conn
his
Smythe that year.
breakout year. Yeah.
He won the Conn Smythe, and
Yeah.
years later, he had a much worse playoff, but won the Stanley Cup. And I'm calling it a much worse playoff, but that doesn't mean anything, only
Right.
because he was almost perfect in
Yeah.
2003.
Literally.
The team in front of him in 20 in '07 was like way better and ready to.
Oh yeah.
They
Oh yeah.
weren't quite ready to win, but sometimes teams like that grow that way, and
Yeah.
that
The '07 Ducks is like one of my first memories of seeing well, not professional hockey, but like professional
yeah,
like the NHL. Yeah. That's the
yeah.
first
And
season
like,
I really
it's funny
remember.
how I mentioned the '03 Ducks is kind of like my
Yeah.
introduction to like real playoff hockey and remembering because that really is well. I also remember Detroit winning the Stanley Cup the year before, but
Mm.
it was different because in 2002, 2003, I can tell you I watched almost every game and I
Right.
the Habs and it was I was really much I was into it in 2002 also, but in 2003 it really became my obsession.
Right.
So it
That's
was
cool.
that was one of the playoffs and that impressed me the most were the Ducks. And that's what happens though. All you need is a good goalie sometimes and you can go you might not win the Stanley Cup with that, but you're gonna go far.
Yep. Yeah.
I like how we always talk about some random thing. This is our
Well,
random
that's
thing.
that's that's what it is. We're talking about the early playoffs and the crazy turnaround runs that the Minnesota Wild had and the Anaheim Ducks. And
Yeah, just
yep,
because the Anaheim Ducks, the '03 Anaheim Ducks were so good that
they were.
I think they even pushed it to 7 games on the Devils. I think they did.
I think they did. It's believable,
All of a sudden now, like there's to me, it's the best loser ever.
right?
Honestly, to me, it's the most exciting loser in NHL history.
It might be for how close it was.
It actually might be for real, but in my opinion, it felt that way. I'm more proud of the loser than I am of the winner that year.
Yeah.
How often can you say that? You're more actually in terms of
Yeah,
winners,
that series is crazy. I'm looking it up now.
it was also the series
It
where
went
you
full
remember
seven.
Paul Correa getting
Yeah.
completely knocked out.
Was that '03 or was that earlier?
No, that was in the '03
That was the
final.
'03 series. Oh shit. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought that was in the '90s. Okay. Wow.
No, it was that one. Beautiful, beautiful moments from that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I mean.
If you were to
Because
ask me
I'm
every
yeah.
team that made the playoffs in that year, I wouldn't have been able to guess the Islanders, but they played Ottawa. I'm just looking at the bracket randomly. That's like the most.
Was Yashin on the Islanders or was Yashin on the Senators?
Oh, he was on the Islanders by then because they traded him in
Right.
'01. They would have
Oh,
had
no one.
like it would have been in like '01 that they would have gotten Chara and all that.
Right.
Chara and oh, and the pick that became Spezza because Spezza was drafted in '01. So
Yep.
what a
Wow.
what a horrible trade by Mike Milbury.
Yeah.
He was just not a good GM.
Yeah. When you have Luongo, Chara, and Spezza,
Well, he
you
never
keep them.
actually owned Spezza, but
Right.
it's Bertuzzi. He traded Bertuzzi too.
He traded Bertuzzi.
Yeah, to I think it was for like Trevor Linden or something. Or I anyways,
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, that
it
was
was
a
all
whole.
bad years for them.
Yeah.
And not too long after, Trevor Linden somehow ended up in Montreal through he
I
ended up
remember that. I have his hockey. Yeah, I have his hockey card for Montreal for some
yeah,
reason.
his 1 or 2 years.
Yeah. Yep.
And I remember him like on the Habs. I was really young and I didn't really know how good he was elsewhere, like before.
Yeah. I thought it
Because
was like one of
he
his
became
brothers. I
like
honestly thought it was one of
it
his
was like a
brothers and
Bure
stuff.
thing.
Like I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, like exactly.
Yeah.
Trevor Linden.
Reminds me of something during my ball hockey.
Hmm.
So we won 9-6 on
Oh,
Monday.
nice.
There was a guy on the other team who bragged about scoring five
Okay.
goals. And my team is like, bro, you're like Valerie Bure. I'm like Pavel Bure. You can't win anything. I don't know why he went with the Berets, but he
Yeah.
did. He chose the Berets as the comparison. Man, imagine if Valerie would have just hit.
Well, I can imagine for a lot of players just to.
But also Marcel Hosa. Like,
Yeah.
the Habs were known for grabbing the lesser talented brothers.
Yeah, and then we just started getting both of them.
Yeah. And we
We learned
started
a
getting,
lesson, and then we were just like, well, we'll get both of them just
well,
in
yeah,
case.
the Kostitsins and now the Jack Eyes.
Yeah.
We own both. But
Yeah.
the Jack Eyes chose Montreal
Yeah. Yeah.
because the first one, he literally rejected Toronto.
Yeah.
You hear about
Yeah,
that?
I did.
Do you remember hearing the interview where he's like, he kind of held out waiting for Montreal to call him to
Yeah,
be,
well, I mean, you look at the roster that Toronto has, and I mean, it's like, well, do you see yourself playing there? And it's tough when they're a contender like that already, you know?
yeah, but
So
they could always use defense. You can't,
they could always use defense, yeah, sure, but I
he
mean,
would have
his
fit well in that
opportunity,
team. He actually would have done
yeah,
well on these.
yeah, when he played, which was up in the
But he
air,
chose Montreal because his grandfather
yeah, which
introduced
was
him
nice.
of
That's
Montreal.
the part I read, yeah,
He did not want to play in Toronto.
yeah,
He didn't like
which
he
I respect.
but apparently I talked to someone from Hamilton. A lot of people from Hamilton don't like to be associated with Toronto at all. So it kind of
That's yeah, it makes sense. It goes hand in hand.
yeah. I don't know if you've heard of the Game Over, like the Game Over
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, yeah.
The girl
I've heard
there,
of him.
she said she was from Hamilton. She had her friend on once, and
Hmm.
they were both from Hamilton, and they're like, yeah, we don't associate with Toronto,
Oh
and that's
wow, okay, that's
now
cool.
that's what I believe on Hamilton.
Oh, cool.
I've never actually been to Hamilton,
Me neither.
but I don't think I have much of a reason to go there.
Yeah, I
I
mean, besides maybe a couple
we
of
could have
CFL
used to,
games.
but not anymore because there's no AHL team. Hamilton Bulldogs are gone.
Yeah. Well, there's still a Hamilton Bulldogs team, right? But they're just not
Right now they're in
affiliated.
Brantford
Oh,
because
they're in Brantford now.
due to some issues with the
Right.
arena in
Yeah,
Hamilton.
yeah, yeah. Right.
I wonder if they're going back to Hamilton or not. To me, it
Well,
felt
aren't they building a new arena?
yeah,
I thought they were. Yeah.
that's why.
Should be interesting.
I heard it was renovations, but still.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and speaking of the Jack guys, do you see how good Florian has been lately?
Yeah, for
He's on
Laval,
fire.
yeah, he's doing very well there.
It'll be good to go see him next week.
Yeah.
You remember next Wednesday?
Yeah.
Got tickets, like eighth row.
Yeah. I put that down, and yeah, it's gonna be fun to go see.
Should be a
It's gonna be
fun
the
night.
first Laval game of the season for me.
Yeah, me
I haven't
too.
been I haven't been all year. Yeah.
I haven't been since last season.
Yeah, same, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. It's cheaper, but sometimes it feels like you could easily go on like a Friday night and like
Yeah,
you for
yeah,
like
no.
with your
When I was
girlfriend.
living, yeah, when I was living in Laval, that would be my kind of like what I do. I would just
Yeah, no, and
pick up a
like
ticket for $30.
I used to get tickets when I went to get tickets when Caulfield was there, or during
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
season I would go. But
Yeah.
it seems like if you don't live around there, you're not gonna go that often, I think.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like further away, so why would, you know? But no, when I was living in Laval, it was definitely,
Easy.
excuse me, it
Yeah.
was definitely my thing to do.
Yeah, and like I think the first couple seasons, but I find like there are season ticket holders.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that they have their season tickets and it would be easy to become one, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. They're very
If I really
accessible.
wanted to,
They're very,
as opposed to the to being a season ticket holder for the Habs, that's really expensive too.
yeah, yeah,
Like I had a friend who used to, well, my friend Nick there, the one that the ball hockey
yeah, yeah,
team you
yeah.
played for, you never met him in person, but you played for his ball hockey team.
Well, yeah, you mentioned that when I played that one game there, but yeah, you did mention it.
Yeah, he was a season ticket holder.
Oh,
He used to
cool,
sell me some tickets from time to time, and I
nice.
haven't heard anything this year, so I'm assuming he just hasn't he either isn't selling them or he just doesn't have them anymore.
A lot of people I know, like during like the transitional years, if you want to call them that. I know there's been a lot of change for that, but yeah, no. I mean, yeah, I mean,
No, and it's some good hockey. And still Laval has it brings in like the most money for the AHL.
yeah, I saw that, and yeah, you know, like it's what it is. You know, like they did a really good job putting it in close to the city of Montreal. Like, you know,
Yeah,
like that's what people,
it's
and you know,
a
and
mecca.
fans realize that. Fans realize that. Hey, you know, like I mean, I know our ticket prices aren't exactly like Toronto, but you know, it's a cheaper ticket. So what are you gonna do with your family, and what are you gonna do? Watch hockey? Well,
Yeah, yeah,
this
you
is what
can
you're gonna
easily
do.
go there.
Yeah.
And this past Sunday, that was another accessible thing. You didn't go, did you?
No, I didn't go the Sunday. No,
I went. Victoria bought
that's
me the
cool.
tickets
Oh,
for my
cool, cool.
Christmas gift. It was nice. We
Nice.
had third row seats.
Very nice.
Ironically, it was Fotini's friends
Oh, cool.
that sold us the tickets, and they just happened to be like at the other end of
Oh,
the
wow.
section,
Okay, well, that's
just
cool.
below us,
Yeah,
first
that's
row.
cool though.
Yeah, I spent a little more money, or Victoria spent a little more money on them because they sold it like on like a pre-sale. So I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
how
Yeah,
she
yeah, they
extra
did that
tickets, but
normally
she
with
does
IGA and stuff. Yeah, yeah. No, it's
because
good to, it's a good thing to go to and see. It's fun. It is.
yeah, no, and this year was probably one of the better ones only because you had like Jack Eye, Slavkovsky, you had some really like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
team
you
was
had the lineup. Yeah. And they were refreshed and ready and yeah, you know.
it sucked we learned that Doc was hurt that day.
Yeah.
That's the day we actually learned that.
Yeah.
Uh, and Line A Gallagher weren't there.
Right.
Not everyone was there, but it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Josh Anderson sitting out, and then he gets
That
hurt
was a
yesterday too.
brutal like it looked accident. I mean, I know the stick was
It's
intentional there, but
accidental, but just seeing
it was accidental.
it was hard to see like the
And
fall.
like, you know, like
He was already hurt. You know that he was
yeah,
playing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't
The
practice. He
he's
goes to
like
practice.
even the announcer said he was lucky to get up because if he didn't get up, it would have been a worse injury. Like the fact that he was able to get up and hit the boards is more relieving.
Yeah, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be back in
Yeah.
a week or
Yeah,
so.
and I mean, and the circumstance that he didn't come back in, I mean, it was
Anything.
third period, you're up, and yeah, no, you sit that one out. You
Hopefully,
wait till the end of the game
Doc
for
and
sure.
Anderson are able to play tomorrow.
Hopefully, I mean, I'm expect like not expecting, but like I'm hoping one of them does.
Yeah, and keep Beck where he is.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good thing that he's here. He's doing well. He's keeping up with the team, so yeah, he's
But I
holding his
do see
ground.
if Doc is the one that comes back, he'll probably get his spot back on the second line. But it is what it is.
Yeah, that is what it is. Yeah,
I just hope that Beck gets more like reps at face-off. I didn't like how he
yeah,
was taking more of the face-offs. I understand that he's the veteran, but it was almost like a trial run for Beck to see
yeah,
if he can do it center.
yeah.
And
He's here for a reason though. He's here to see. Like, I think he's here. You know, just in case that does happen, where you know we don't have Evans. You know, I think that's why he's in the lineup. But
well, he's the perfect fit to sit next
exactly.
to Line A and Newhook right now.
Yeah,
I think Newhook is a winger. Everything
me
I
too.
see him do, he's a fast third line winger when it's all said and done. He's great though. He's great in that role.
He fits right in. Yeah,
He's going to be a guy that's going to get you 30 points. What he was in
what you need.
Colorado,
Yeah,
turns out
yeah,
that's what he is.
yep.
And we thought
That's
maybe we would get
perfect.
more out of it. We
Uh,
can't. But his salary, it's not too bad.
no,
2.8. Maybe you give him another 3 million. But if Doc doesn't, if he's not healthy next year, or if he keeps getting injured, you got to let Doc
yeah,
go after next season. It's sad, true. But I see more of a future on this team
yeah.
for Newhook
I
just
agree.
as
I
a
agree
third
with you
liner
there, and it's
than I see
sad
Doc right
because of
now.
the injuries. It is unfortunate, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Sometimes you just need
because
to
this
get
is
a
always a
restart
consistent.
somewhere else.
Yeah, and this will be his third one, so but no, I'm glad that we were able, or even are able, to still give him a shot, and maybe he does stick around. But
Well, he was starting to
I
get a
feel
little
like
bit
I
better
feel
this
like he was, but the injuries are still there, and unfortunately, that's always going to stick with you. But yeah, I mean, I feel like he does need a new page or a new team to start his new chapter. But no, he's still on the team, I'm still supporting him. But I feel like at the end of next year, if this is what he is, then we don't need that.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
well, I think we know what New Hook is now. We know what New Hook is,
yeah, we know what
and
Newhook
Doc
is. We
maybe gets
know,
a little more time to figure it out because of the injury in NHL. But sometimes
yeah, but
it's with
who
age.
has more games exactly?
That's a good question
It's
because I know that Doc has played more years, but does Doc have more games
so
than New
here,
Hook?
Alex Newhook
Let's check right here.
has
So right now I'm on New
yeah,
Hook's page, 277, 272,
272 NHL games, and Kirby Doc
269.
200. Newhook has the edge, yeah, by like
Yeah,
literally a
New Hook
handful of
has the
games.
edge,
By a
despite
handful of
playing
games,
less
that's
years in the
it.
NHL because
Yeah,
it's just a health
yeah,
thing.
it
It's
is. It
sad.
is. Okay, fine. We lost Romanov, but
I mean,
I mean, look at our defense. And okay, fine, it could be improved, but it could be
I
worse.
mean, it is improving, and the reason why they traded Romanov, you're not gonna love this too much, but it's because of Caden
Yeah,
Gooley,
well, I mean, like,
and
look,
I'm gonna say you're not gonna love
yeah, but if
it.
we're talking about Doc, I mean, like, he's been more injured than Caden Gooley, right?
Doc will be injured forever,
I've noticed
and
Caden Gooley. Yeah, Caden Gooley, right?
yeah, no, Gooley bounces back
He
better.
bounces back better, and I find that the last. Okay, so now here, like, let me look at Caden Gooley and let me look at Kirby Doc,
Yeah, well, Caden
right?
Gooley obviously
So
played less games. He's only been in the NHL for 3 years, but
yeah, and even you mentioned to me like his injuries, like they weren't that bad, and they're not. They're not.
no, this might
I'm
be his
just
worst
a little
one
paranoid.
out of
So
pure bad luck. His
yeah,
skate hit his knee, hit below
yeah,
his knee, giving it a laceration. This is probably the
yeah.
worst injury he's had.
So
And
3 seasons,
the amount
158
of bad
games,
luck. So the Habs have,
and Kirby has
you have to look in that same timeline because they've been on the Habs the same amount of time. So none of the games that he played for Chicago, and we can do that.
so 269. Let me do it here.
Yeah, if you're gonna,
I
you
got
might
it.
as well just remove the games
Two
against
six nine
that he played for
two
Chicago.
six nine minus 64 minus 18 minus 70. 117 compared to 158. So Doc has less games by
Yeah, because Doc played two
158
freaking games last
minus
year.
117.
He
So
played two games last.
Doc has half a season on Caden Gooley in 3 years.
So, yeah, right now Doc is having his worst season production wise since his rookie season, but it's also been the most healthy season.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened on Saturday night? I kind of missed what happened to him.
Was it not a hit along the boards?
Think so.
I thought that's what it was. I thought it was a hit along the boards.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, so hopefully it's not that long. They said it was day to day. He should be fine, but it's still worrisome because he can't completely get going. He was starting to get
Yeah.
going right before the break. When the Habs were struggling down the stretch, they were slowing down. I felt like he was actually moving up, like playing better
I don't know.
than
That might just
a
be,
lot.
I don't know. That might be an illusion,
You
but
know who needed the break more than anyone? And you might
lining.
not realize it, but the guy who needed the break more than anyone is definitely Lane
Ah,
Hudson.
yes.
Lane Hudson
Yeah,
went
you're
on
right. Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah. They even
streak of
talked
like
about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
6 games
You're
where
right.
he was not the same player.
Yeah,
He never played this many games. He's only played in college. So
right.
now next year he's got to get used to this. he was lucky that this year there's a break, and there's gonna be another big break next year too.
Yeah.
So he's just got to get to those breaks.
Yeah, he's also
Fortunately,
18.
he he had to play two like 7 or 8 games too many in order to get to that break for him to actually be at his full potential. But he's back.
Yeah.
He's back,
Yeah.
and Slavkovsky too. But Slavkovsky always comes back hard after a break. He needs to
Yeah,
start
and he'll
seasons
get there. I
better.
mean, and he's only like 20, 21, right?
Yeah,
It's insane.
20. He's turning
20.
21 at the
There
end
you
of
go.
the month.
There you go.
And then on April
Um,
1st is his bobblehead night. I want to
yeah.
go.
All right, maybe I'll look for tickets too. Maybe
Yeah,
we make that a game.
yeah, we can maybe make that happen.
Cool. Um, but yeah, no, I'm very impressed with Slavkovsky. I'm very impressed with Newhook. I'm very impressed with the entire roster, like you said.
Well, yeah,
Even
last couple
Dvorak, I'm
games.
impressed with. I mean,
But
he's showing where he's useful in his strengths, so I'm perfectly okay with that.
But yeah, when you mentioned like New Hook, yeah, his strength is third line.
Yeah.
And I watched him one game and he was right before the break. I'm like, he's the one player I feel like is moving on the second line. I felt Doc and Line were kind of like, slowing him down. And that's where I
Mm.
realized New Hook needs to stay. If you had to choose between Doc and New Hook, I'm
Newhook.
choosing New Hook because I
Yeah.
can fit him in my third line. He might not have the offensive skill that Doc has, but it doesn't matter.
No. Yeah.
I would take New Hook because I you need to improve on Doc on the second line center.
You do. Yeah.
And speaking
And
of like coming back from injuries, did you see anything that Reinbacher's done? He's getting better each game. Today he was a +3 in a 5-2 win over the Marlies.
yeah,
They played
he's doing
11,
good, and yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gonna get a call up, if not this season,
maybe
then
at the end of
next
the
for
season, but
sure.
they don't
Um,
have to call him up. They
they
just
don't
want
have
to
to.
play just to get him back into form. I think he could make the NHL
Yeah,
next year.
yeah, and that'll be
But
something for sure that'll help. Yeah,
he's a +4 in 3 games. He's doing really well.
yeah,
It's nice. But Laval's now without their best
yeah,
player, who
yeah,
went up to the
yeah,
NHL, which is
which that
understandable.
happens, but
But Laval's on fire this year.
yeah, they are, and I feel like
Good for
that is
Kaden
just
Primo
because
in his career.
here past trade deadline could be a tough one, right? He
Yeah,
could be gone, right? I because we
yeah,
have our 1-2. Um, who knows? Maybe right on that bullet, but we'll see. Maybe
yeah.
Montreal does use him as that. You know, maybe
Well, I
Montreal
think
does use
they're
him
going
as
to
that
try and
quick goalie
trade
because
Evans and
it's
Dvorak
been.
as well as Armia.
You
I think
think
those
you think
three
they're getting
like
rid of Evans, eh?
what?
I don't know. Evans, I'm not sure on. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna get rid of Evans. I mean, maybe, but the value
We'll
has
see.
to be like because again, like it's been said, like if you're getting rid of Evans, okay, then how are you gonna what player are you gonna replace for that for a cheaper price? Besides
Back.
Owen Beck, I mean, you have Owen Beck, but
I think it's
I
harder
don't
to
know.
replace
Like
Armia.
you think it, I guess, especially if they pair them off, but I don't know.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right, welcome back to the Canadians Cafe podcast. We were just talking about Jake Evans and Yoel Armia, and like which one would be harder to get rid of for the team overall. And I say actually it's Yoel Armia mainly because there's no player in the organization that really resembles his style of play. Amazing.
No one in the organization, but I think
It's more
that will be
movable. You just
available.
need the right defensive pairing to fit with like Beck long term for a penalty kill. And I say that's why
Yeah,
I say Evans. We're not going to give him 4 million for 5 years. If you saw what it was, like that's too much for your fourth line center. If you can get a guy for 1.5 or on his ELC like Beck, that's good.
I don't know, man.
Evans
Four
is
million for 5 years. I don't know.
4 million for 5 years. You can find that's someone that a borderline top six forward almost. Third line. This guy's going to be on your fourth line long term. Plus, you got to remember that all the
Is
offense
he?
Jake Evans.
Because if let's just put this in perspective. Let's just say Owen Beck does come up to the league, right? Now he's your fourth line center. So Evans moves up.
Not okay. So you're saying this is with Dvorak. Oh, but you don't. Oh, okay. You don't have the long picture. You're not thinking about the long picture of Michael Hage, Alex Newhook's gonna go to the wing, but Beck could be your third or fourth line. Plus, you have Oliver Kapanen coming, so you have Beck and Kapanen to play your third and fourth line centers. There's a lot of,
There's a lot of ifs there,
but
but
also
I see your side of it as well.
here's another thing though that we need to realize. We need a guy that's a left-handed center. Evans is a left-handed center. I mean, right-handed center. Beck is a
Yes.
right-handed center.
Yeah.
Oliver Kapanen, right-handed center. Suzuki, right-handed center. Michael Hage, right-handed center. Where are your left-handed centers? You need them. There's none. We have none in the organization. I don't understand how we ended up with all right-handed centers. It's kind of funny, to be honest.
I mean, they
I
all
would
worked out, or
run at
they
Sam
all look like
Bennett,
they're going
but
to
you're
work
not gonna.
out. But yeah,
You could try and take a run at Sam Bennett in free agency. See if you can get him. You're probably not going to get him.
you
Realistically,
make an offer.
you make an offer, you could try. You might get him, but it's at like 10% at this point.
What's the expression? You throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's going to stick,
Yeah, sometimes it does.
right?
Exactly. Like even like he could be our big free agency signing this summer.
Right?
And
If we free up the cap, especially. But
I just wish the Demidov could play center. Oh my God, he would
yeah,
be perfect at center. But he
yeah,
says
would
he's
be.
comfortable at center, but he's never actually played it. He says he's more comfortable at center. I don't necessarily,
I don't
you
know.
can't
Well,
really say that because he doesn't
yeah,
take face-offs.
yeah,
So at the same time, are we just gonna run a bunch of right-handed centers? Or are you gonna trade some? You
yeah. That's what they might. That's what the option might be. Maybe instead of having like four or five, you trade one or max two because you
yeah.
got to keep them.
But
But
and that's why I think Jake Evans, look, he can get a lot of money on the open market, and I don't think the Habs are gonna budge for over $3 million. At this point, look, he's off his hot offensive run.
yeah,
That was
well,
unsustainable in December.
so I feel so. Looking at how Kent Hughes and how Jeff Gorton manage, they buy low and sell high. So right now, with his value being as high as it is, the
Yeah.
logic says that they're gonna get rid of him if the deal isn't there.
Trade him and Armia together.
I feel like Armia devalues Evans though,
How? They're a
because
legitimate pack.
Armia's contract is up next year, is it not?
No, it's up this
It's up this year.
yeah.
So yeah,
Uh,
let him walk. Let him walk.
no,
Cool.
but you could trade both in a package. That won't
If
devalue. It's not devaluing when they're literally the one of the best PK duos
Okay, yeah. So if you
forward
sell
in the
them to a
NHL.
playoff team,
You
if you sell them to a
to
playoff team, then
them
yeah,
a playoff team. That's how you
yeah.
do it.
Okay, so let's look at our
Someone
playoff
who's
teams.
struggling on the penalty kill.
Let's look at our playoff teams, and let's look who's struggling in the penalty kill.
Let's see if there's a team that's
Boston.
not good on. That would be nice because they might still miss the playoffs. I don't see them making the
How much
playoffs,
cap do they have?
and you know that they never have cap.
Yeah, that's what's tough. That's what's tough. Something back, but I don't know. I mean, we just kicked Carolina's ass, but
Yeah,
I mean, there are
they don't.
talks about Rantanen, but I don't feel like Rantanen fits in our style.
He doesn't. Rent.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I
turns
don't
out
think.
he's a product of system. He's a great hockey player, but he absolutely doesn't fit at all in
Yeah,
Carolina. Like not
so
even
that
close.
makes me feel like he wouldn't fit here. So I'm not really interested in that. Um, I know there's talks to Toronto. I know there's been like, oh, we have, maybe Toronto has something, but that's a divisional
But
team.
you're not
I
going to trade him to
don't think
Toronto.
so.
This isn't a situation
No,
like a
you
Placan.
wouldn't.
You don't trade
Yeah,
him
this isn't that at all.
to your rivalry team.
No, because even their pick isn't worth it at
Because
that point.
this is a situation where you're not only just getting like a return, you're actually going to be helping
I
this
mean,
them
a
as well.
trade partner who we've dealt with left and right is New Jersey. We've always
Yes,
been
and
dealing
we've
with them, and you said it earlier with
everything.
You said it in our podcast, like maybe like two podcasts ago or three podcasts ago,
Yeah,
maybe
I
with
think
Nemec.
the perfect fit.
That's literally the perfect fit. I think that maybe that's what gets done. Their playoff team. Um,
Yeah, to me, it's the perfect fit. There's no better fit
I
than
I I
Jersey.
think it's New Jersey.
So yeah, at the same time, and see what they're willing to offer. Maybe it's Simon Nemec.
It could be.
Simon Nemec at this. You may have to add a
Do
pick
it.
to it if
Do
you're going to
it.
get a prospect
Add a
back.
pick. It doesn't even
Yeah,
even
then
if
you're
it's
going
a
to get someone's
first.
best friend. Yeah, Calgary's first. You can do that.
Yeah,
No,
seriously.
first is going to be dangled like this. Ooh. Yeah, there
And he's
was.
a right-handed defenseman. Do it. Do it
It'll,
tomorrow.
it's dangled. You know how we dangled Winnipeg's last year to
Yeah.
jump up in the draft because they
Yeah.
wanted their guy, their second first round pick. They wanted it, so they traded the second just to make sure to get him.
Not only that, but it also keeps Slav happy. Do
Yeah,
it.
you always want your superstar power forward, or he's not a superstar yet, but your star.
Well, I mean, he's a star.
Yeah, he's really on the verge of becoming a star for real. We cannot deny that.
He's a star.
He's gonna be,
Like,
but no,
does Slakowski make the Slovakia national team?
every day of the week. Not
Star.
only does he make it, every day of the week he's their first line winger. Every
Star. There you go.
he's
If you're
the
if you're repping your country or your nationality on the top line, you're a
but
star.
forget about that. He's the greatest like national team player in their history, I think
Well, I
almost.
mean, there's whole stuff.
No, he's 20 years old, but he's done more than anyone has ever done for the
That's
national
very
team
true.
personally.
I don't know.
Like
Maybe it's just my bias. I think Hossa is like the
have
greatest
they
Slovak of all
have
time,
they
besides Chara.
even though it wasn't against all NHLers, but still is what it is. But no, Nemec, if they scratch
Yeah.
him, he's currently a healthy scratch every
Well, I mean,
day.
it's
What,
close
what
to trade deadline.
it could be have to give up a first with Evans, but
Do
you
it.
might as well do it. He's a right-handed
Do it. For a
defenseman.
right-handed defenseman,
Um,
you do it. Yeah.
if he's scouting thing, is he a
Hmm.
two? Like, is he or is he going to be more offensive? Because we don't need him to be offensive. We need
Yeah.
him to shut things down or my use game. So, and
Well,
that's I
he
do not
does
like the
lean
way he plays.
towards offensively. He does lean towards offensive production. So that's
No,
one
I'd
thing.
rather a more two-way
Maybe you
guy
try
because
getting rid
he
of Mayu then, but
Mayu. Yeah, I'd trade Mayu to get Simon Nemec works. I'm trading Mayu for sure for a young forward or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
I
there's
don't.
more
I
value,
don't.
I think, with a younger
And
defenseman.
I think Nemec will fit better in Montreal than Mayu.
Yeah.
Some people might hate me for that. I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
because the
Some
reason's
people are like that.
understandable,
Me, it's
but
an
again, it's
actual.
not about that exactly. And it's sad to say it's not about that, but yeah, like his ceiling was up here, so maybe that would be the reason why I think people would be upset for that reason. But
No, there's a reason why Nemec
I
must have been
mean,
the first defenseman taken in that draft.
yeah,
He has the tools. He just needs to. We all know why Hudson fell to the second round, and teams still didn't learn
yeah,
on his brother.
yeah,
And the problem and how this guy's in the second round. You already redraft the two teams
yep,
cannot mess up on these Hudson brothers.
no,
They gotta
which is
get Lars.
crazy.
Someone's got to get Lars in the first round. I think next year's draft. Let me see. How old is Lars?
By next
How
year's
old is Lars
draft, you say
Hudson?
2025?
He's no, he's younger than that
No, no, no,
even.
but the
That's
year
why I
I'm
want to
talking
check.
about, like by next year's draft, you're talking about the 2025 NHL draft?
2026.
2026, okay.
Landon. Oh no, he's 2027.
Oh,
He's
jeez, okay.
he's still way out in the future. Talking.
Yeah,
He's
right.
even too young for the actual development programs.
Yeah,
He'll enter, but obviously. But I don't know if he's as dominant as his brothers, but I'm just
mhm.
saying that like straight up. Like what was Lane doing at the same age? Where was Lane at after turning like 16, you know?
Right. I was looking at the draft now. That's why.
Uh yeah. But that's the thing. Like you got to look at certain players and be like, okay, it's time to take them, even
Yeah.
if they're small,
Well,
because they're
it
gonna
worked
make you
out
look
so
stupid.
well with us with Cole. It worked
Look
out
at
with Lane Hudson. Um, yeah, I mean, it helps to have those big guys as well. Your depth with size.
yeah, for sure. it definitely helps, but like teams can still use that one
For sure.
one defenseman that can do that. And that's it.
Yeah.
Montreal has theirs. They're not gonna get they don't need a guy that's under 6 feet on defense anymore.
No, you're good.
Alex Carrier is still kind of small.
What that was that. So for now, that is the win of the season.
Yeah, I mean that was
Alex
beautiful.
Carrier or Carrier,
Carrier
literally transformed the defense.
defense.
Besides Lane Hudson,
Well, Lane Hudson was gonna, but it helped Lane Hudson. It helped release Lane Hudson. It helped
it
bring
helped release Lane Hudson, which is why I say like that was the pinnacle, or not the pinnacle, but like the moment. As soon as we got him, I love that deal. Yeah,
yeah, no, that deal right away looked really good. Like you get
yeah.
rid of Justin Barron, who can barely play defense, and I think I'm also afraid of Mayu
Mm.
because of Justin Barron. So at the same age, I can now confirm that both Cole, younger brother Lars,
Well,
the dominance that Cole and Lane have, I don't think Lars will ever be able to get to
well,
that level.
still.
No, and look, they even have their brother Quinn Hudson,
I mean, that sounds nice too.
but he's older. He's
Yeah,
like 22.
but I still.
I
Is he
mean,
with the team right now?
on like an AHL deal. He's still in college playing. He's playing with Cole.
I mean,
But yeah, no, the
I
two
support
middle
that.
brothers are way better than uh,
Yeah,
than the youngest and the oldest. I think
I mean,
this might be it for the Hudson
hmm.
brothers in the NHL. I don't know,
I mean, if
but
I'm if I'm
it's
if I'm
cool.
a
They're
scout, I'm going
brothers,
to look at
four
his
brothers.
brothers for sure. Right?
Yeah, you might a little hard, but I'm just saying at the same age, you had Cole and well, Cole was better than Lane even, and
Yeah,
there's an argument that he might someday, which will be
yeah,
scary. Washington is developing well because
yeah.
like they're not gonna actually have to do a full
No, they're
rebuild.
and
It's all
they it looks shaky for a bit, but they're definitely in the right direction now. And
it's their young players that are
yeah,
leading now.
exactly. Like I said,
Ovechkin's just
they literally turned into the Penguins by when the Penguins had their run in '09, and then a few years later we could have one more cup added to his resume.
yeah, maybe, but I doubt
Maybe.
it. I don't think that team. So I'm looking at professional hockey. He's gonna be a professional hockey player.
Yeah,
To what level we don't know. He is a right wing though, and he is bigger than his
I like
brothers.
that.
He's
That's good.
5'11". Definitely gonna get. He's gonna be one of those like
Hmm.
college free agents this year, I think, or maybe even next year. He's got to leave now if he wanted to.
Right.
But I'm just trying to check the sizes. I think I think Lane might be the smallest of them,
That's dope.
which is okay. I mean,
Yeah, that's
it's not
okay.
small. He had a growing disorder as a child. He had to bring. I have another year to grow. See, and he did. He
There
grew
you go.
an inch.
Still grew.
They're both so yeah. Cole and Lane, they both say
Paul's not
five
that
ten.
short. Like a lot of
So
people say, yeah, he's like short, but he's not that short.
Caulfield,
Yeah,
you're saying Caulfield is not that short.
yeah,
He's
it's
like
not that
this much
short.
taller than me, and I'm
It's
what?
no,
I know it's not much.
it's no. But he doesn't look as small as people claim to be.
In person, he might be the smallest NHL player I've ever seen in height.
I mean, I've
I didn't.
well,
Well, Gianta. That's wrong.
yeah, but
Gianta.
if I remember correctly, I mean, him and Giota are about the same, though,
No,
height
Gianta
wise.
in shorter even.
Okay, so that's why, because I've met Brian Giota, and that's what's in my head as a small NHLer. So
Yeah,
maybe that's
inch,
just what's in my head.
I'm about
But
the same height as
yeah,
Gianta. Something like that. Maybe Gianta might be a little taller than me. I was still growing when I met Gianta
right.
because I grew at 21 years old for some reason.
Wait, we met him together, right? Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
we did. We've done a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
that.
right.
Yes.
Yeah,
When I got the tickets, like, but I'm looking for someone to go with, and you're like, no, I don't. I'm like, oh my
yeah,
God, this is awesome
yeah, yeah.
because you were
Well,
able to. It's like whenever Matt came in
well, when
town,
we like yeah, when we asked for them and stuff like that, but we weren't able to do that every time.
all your cousins were there.
Yeah, yeah, we all saw each other after. That's cool.
Yeah. I met your cousin once. I was speaking to your cousin, one of your cousins multiple
Yes.
times because
Yeah.
logic. You know, I don't
Wow.
even know if he ever worked there again after either. We didn't have enough time to catch up to the old staff, so
Right.
they never brought us back because afterwards we all did like one hit
Yeah, yeah, I
and
got you.
run kind of thing. 1 year.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it. And so I'll be
Oh
able to
yeah.
look more into that and look at guys
Yeah.
closer up. Elite pro. It says he's 5'10", 5'8" blue liner evades opponents with weight puck. Turn every puck touch into a grade A scoring chance. He does that at the NHL level. How did he be able to go flawlessly from league to league? It's ridiculous.
It's
He
it's
he just
hockey. I
he
think
knows
I
what to
honestly
do.
think
Like
it's hockey IQ.
he's got the most IQ that I've ever seen on
Like
the
for an
Habs
eight,
until
literally for an 18
Demidov.
year old, yeah.
The Habs
Like the way he creates
are
space.
slowing down. Well, Demidov has slowed down a little bit in the KHL the last two games. Like
Mm,
apparently he's not. I heard these odds that I was able to see. He's not as puck dominant with the way he was a couple weeks ago. It looks like it might be fatigue because him either. He's never played
mm.
60 games in a year.
It's gonna happen. I
Makes a
mean, like
difference.
these guys, like it's
Yeah.
different schedules, it's different routines,
Players
it's
hit a wall. Maybe
different
hit a wall.
day to day. It's normal.
Yeah, I think a lot of rookies hit a wall at some
And
point.
it's the fact that the NHL wants to put more games in the schedule too, which is like, I'm not sure how I
Maybe
feel
a
about that,
70
but
schedule would be okay, but it's not too
the amount
long.
of games that you have is a nice starting in like September.
Yeah, I like that. It starts and then by
But that's just me.
and then the cup is given right before the
Draft is
summer.
here. Again, it's the same thing. It's the 27th. It's like,
Yeah, it's the best thing you can do.
yeah, no, for sure. Like that's one of the years.
Still, the Habs won the Stanley Cup in one of the only 84 game seasons
Yeah.
ever. When in 93, in 92, 93,
Yeah.
they went up to 84 games. And then 93, because of the lockout, they played 48. But after the lockout, they had decided that the league would play
Yeah.
82 instead of 84. I don't know why that 82 games now.
Yeah.
Some people,
And
I was
also
watching a
I
video
yeah.
also sorry? No, I was going to say,
No, no,
I saw a video
I
yesterday.
was gonna say maybe it had something to do with the amount of teams and stuff, but I don't know. Well, I mean, I get for the
I
games and
think
stuff, but
you
yeah.
shouldn't go over 32 teams, but they're going to expand more than
Yeah.
32
Yeah.
soon.
Well,
I don't know
so
how
there's
I feel about that.
talks. Yeah, I mean, I guess they want to really just grow their uh
Thing is,
yeah,
NHL is
there's
catching up slowly to
Atlanta.
the MLB, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Atlanta,
Atlanta's gonna get one for sure. That's what they
which
said.
I don't agree if
Houston, there's
that should be
talks
the
about
first
Houston as
place.
well.
Yeah, I'd give a team the fault to the management though in Atlanta, at least the
Yeah,
last time
yeah. Well,
around.
it's because there because think about them an early struggle. Um, yeah, Atlanta it should work. Houston it should work.
Yeah,
That's what it.
Houston's a big
And then Arizona once they have their plan there with the owner and all that stuff, then
but
they're
that'll
going
take
back there,
years.
which
But I think Quebec
causes a
should be
2-0.
first even.
Adding okay, so Atlanta's an Eastern Conference team, great. Houston's a Western Conference team, great. So now you're back even.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Now you're at what, 17 teams on the West, 17 teams on the East?
yeah,
The Western Conference. So now Quebec is going to make it the odd one out. So now you're at 18 for the East and 17 for the West, unless they go to Kansas City,
yeah.
which
There
is
you
what would be
go.
and now you're at 40 teams or 38, I think.
30. It's 36, 18, 18.
36. Okay. Okay, 36 is reasonable. It's a lot, but I mean,
No,
consider.
and I think after 36, you can't even think about adding
So
more.
then, yeah, do you change your playoff format? Because out of 36, only 16 make the playoffs.
What
That's
you
a
could
big jump.
I think you could make 20 make the playoffs and have like a play in from 7 to
Hmm.
10, kind of like the NBA.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I'm not really
That
like,
could be the
I don't
move.
know. How do you feel about that? Like, I'm not really a big fan if that's what you want to do. You could make it
I
interesting.
it could be I would like that just to give like games that matter.
Yeah,
Because a lot of the time, 7 through 10, they're very close in the
that's true.
standings.
And then you have every game be up to the last game of the season that where it matters. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
yeah, 7 to 10, do you make it a best 2 out of 3 or do you make it just a one-off like in the NBA? I think a one-off works.
Yeah, because if players are tired now, imagine what you're doing adding 3 games.
Yeah, no, because same thing as the NBA. They play the same amount of games, but in the NBA, they do load management. I don't love that, but
Yeah. Yeah. I think you make it a single game.
yeah, just make a single game, same format.
Yeah.
So if it goes like seven versus 10 plays, if 7 wins, they full
Yeah.
on. If 10 wins, then 7 would have to play a second game as like all
But
the
then,
team.
so here's the thing though, if you do a 7-10 thing, then your wild card is all, which Bettman was a big proponent of that,
Yeah, so
which I don't
let's
know,
say
maybe
7.
like I know the players the players hate the division the way it is now. The players hate it. They want
Yeah.
to. You even see it in the interviews. Sometimes they say they like just bring it back to like 1-8 or something. Yeah, which I
Yeah.
agree.
You could do at that
I
point
really don't see a
back
point
to 1-8, but also 7 to 10 doesn't matter
yeah,
at that
but
point.
that's what I mean when I say that. Yeah, yeah,
And that's what you do. So the 7 to 10, obviously you do 1-8 or 1 to 10 in
yeah,
this scenario. And then yeah, so 7 wins, they get the
yeah,
seventh seed no matter what. But if they lose, they then have to play the winner of the
yeah,
8 versus 9 to try and get their
yeah,
spot. Unless if 8 wins theirs, then it's good. But
yeah. Then they win their 8. Yeah, no, that'd be
it's
cool.
a very complicated process to explain right off the bat. I'm trying to think of the scenario where 10
They
actually
would have to
wins.
win out, wouldn't they?
Like, not like if they win and then they have to win the second game too to win to
Right.
move on.
Yeah, they have to win out basically
Yeah, they have to win out of those.
because you're playing your 9 or 8, and then you're playing your 7 or 8.
Yeah. So if
And
seven,
even then, even if you do win, then you're still the lowest seed.
yeah, no, and if 7 and 8 win, it
It
stays as
stays the
that
same.
seven
Yeah,
and eight.
yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay. So yeah, that could be the move.
Yeah,
Just hope you're not 7 or 10. And by the time this happens, the Habs will either be back down on the decline or on the up or way above it, like
yeah.
second or third
I don't
place
know.
in
Do
the
you think?
East at that point. Because the building, I think they're building the type of team that won't be a dynasty, but can
Yeah,
win a cup or
I can see
two.
that. Make it close, make it competitive,
Yeah,
which is all
it's
you can
hard to
do.
win a. I think we
Man,
learned that.
it's harder than it's ever been.
Yeah, it's gonna only get harder.
Yep.
And Canada needs a cup though, and it has to be Edmonton.
With
Edmonton's
McDavid, yeah. With McDavid, yeah.
for the next like 5 6 years. Edmonton's our only
Could
hope.
you imagine? Because like of how Winnipeg is, that'd be
Sorry?
crazy. Could
Oh,
you imagine it? Because like the tear that Winnipeg is on now, if they just went all out and won it this year,
that'd be crazy.
that
Winnipeg
would be
winning the
crazy,
cup would be my bingo card for the season.
right? Well,
It
oh yeah.
feels like
So
that was Winnipeg.
I do have to walk back on what I said because I'm pretty sure I've said it earlier where I thought Carolina was winning the cup, and you
Yeah,
saw
I mean,
that.
I think a lot of it.
I know,
But
but I was like,
good thing I didn't have.
I was one of the few people I've said like I thought Carolina was winning the cup.
No, I thought
Nope,
so. And
not this year.
to watch somehow they needed to keep Natchez and they
Yeah,
did not need Rantanen.
I thought maybe this is just me, but I thought their plan was okay. Nietzsche isn't going to sign. We'll get Rantanen. We'll trade him. We'll have some playoff success, and then he'll sign. Maybe that's what their plan was, but they're bleeding right now, and things are not looking good for them. No, they could turn it around, but
Yeah, no, they're going to make the playoffs, but they need to change the way they're playing if they want to make a real run.
yeah,
And maybe Rantanen can turn it around and get his big con.
maybe, maybe.
But what I saw last night was not impressive at all.
No, it really wasn't. They didn't look in it at all. And like, did you see the stat with Freddie Anderson?
Which that,
Like the 14-3 and what was it? His record versus Montreal, I think.
yeah, yeah. He's always dominated.
Well, yeah. And then Monty got a shutout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't play last night though. Play well last night, or
No, he didn't.
he was
Well, yeah.
he wasn't
He was
that
all
bad. It
right.
was just the front of him really
Yeah.
struggled. I wouldn't blame him
Which
for.
I'm really happy Montreal found success to get goals by him. Like that's a big improvement for me that I saw. So happy about that.
Well, did you see today that after 58 games, the Habs have a 7 point improvement on last year at the 58 game mark?
Yeah, and even I think even last year, like where they said or off season, they said like this is where we want to be around this time of year. So
Yeah,
it's good.
not necessarily in the playoffs, but in the hunt.
In the mix. Yep, and that's where we're at, which I'm happy about. It's good.
I don't think the Habs were going to make the playoffs, but maybe after their run in December, January, I may have said that they could, but now I think the Habs are where they should be. Of course, it took a really bad slump at the
Yeah.
end of January, beginning of February, and a insane month and a half, December, January, because they didn't start off very well. But this is
Yeah.
where the Habs were supposed to be. They're exactly where they should be. This
Yeah.
is where
I hope they make it. I really hope they make it. It'd be good for them.
they can, but I don't think they will. But I think right now where they are in the standings is where they should be.
Right.
Also, Boston. Boston's where they should be. Boston was eventually
Yeah.
supposed to fall off. They finally fell off in
They
the
finally fell off.
West.
Yep.
It's not, it's okay.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be the end of the world. It's not the end of the world for Boston.
No.
It's the end of the world for Pittsburgh because they're done.
They're literally, yeah, they've been, yeah.
It's
All
and
right. So
they get Gavin McKenna at next year's draft
seriously,
because of course
because of
Pittsburgh's always
course,
given those superstar guys.
always. All right. So before we go, quick predictions tomorrow.
Like I said, 4-2 win against the Sharks.
I'll say 5-2. We get the empty
Right.
netter.
Empty netter. Okay.
Yeah. Joel Armia,
The
empty
big
netter. Yep.
Sharks.
There you
The
go.
worst team in the league,
All
which
right.
crazy to think because the way of depression that the Chicago Blackhawks are giving Connor Bedard right now.
Yeah.
But anyways, so
All
this
right. We'll
this
see you next time.
Canadiens Cafe podcast for this week. We'll be back maybe in 2 weeks now, or maybe late
Okay. Yeah.
on
Sure.
next week because Wednesday
Yeah.
we're going to the Laval Rocket game.
All right.
Let's go Habs go, and thank you for listening, guys.
All right. Go ahead. You go.